What it do, guys? It's D'Anthony here, man, aka Hood Scout, back again for another edition of the Hood Scout podcast. And this is really a unique podcast, a podcast like no other. We're going to have athletes, we're going to have coaches, we're going to have intellectuals, we're going to have media members of all sorts. And don't forget, guys, to like this podcast, share this podcast, and help grow this podcast. This is not just my podcast. This is also your podcast. And the only reason it's going to grow is because you guys are going to be invested in it, guys. Sit back, get your beverage of choice ready, get your popcorn ready, get your dinner ready, get your steak ready, get your vegan meal ready. Tune in, guys. Hood Scout. Peace. Hey, what it do, guys? What it do, man? Hood Scout podcast. Hood Scout D'Anthony back again. Really quick intro for this episode. This is an episode I did with Mesquite High School principal, Mr. Joseph. Really good interview. You know, it's not a lot of time that you get to talk to principals and things of that nature, administration on the administration side. And I think that's what makes this podcast original. You know, we're going to have coaches. We've talked to athletes, principals, trainers. You know, it's no limit to this thing when it comes to getting knowledge and getting understanding. But like I always say, guys, continue to support this podcast. Make a donation. I mean, go into your pocket and give $5, give $10, give whatever you can, so we can continue to build this thing because it's independent. You know, this is not connected to, you know, the big networks. You know, this is ground root, almost underground type of stuff. But the information that we're bringing and the platform that we're giving people to talk is beneficial. So support the podcast, share, like, guys, and really support it, man. Take care, man, and God bless. Hood Scout Podcast with Mesquite High School principal. Peace.
How would you improve if education can possibly improve?
Mm-hmm.
What's one nugget that you would implement, or what's one thing that you would change, or just what is some wisdom for this thing as education, which is a popular topic in general, to improve? How can we improve this important profession?
The most important, I'll tell you, it's not even a magic trick.
Mm-hmm.
As impoverished people, and I'm just not talking color, but black, white, Hispanic, we got to get out and vote.
Mm.
I'm gonna tell you why that's so deep. A lot of time kids come to me with the small thing. Mr. Jones, I don't know why I have to do this. Well, your mom voted for a school board member. Your school board member appointed a superintendent. That board and that superintendent, they created policies for a district that we have to follow. So if you're not aligned to those policies, it's the fault of your parents because either they didn't use their voice well enough, or they didn't go out. And it's just, I'll tell you, local elections, I believe the school board election is one of the most important. We've had school board elections, and if you look at the demographics of people that go out and vote,
Yeah.
especially in the black community, we become mute. When President Obama ran, I
Mm-hmm.
saw lines as if they were giving away money. But when the school board election comes out, we're mute. And I
Wow.
don't know if we recognize this, but the governor actually appoints the commissioner of education for the state of Texas, who's basically the president over education in Texas. And so when we don't go out and vote, that's where you get the I'm pulling books out of the library. That at the Texas State House, we're going to say the Civil War was not brought about because of slavery. The
Wow.
man that controls who's in the chair controls the voice. So, what I would change about education, uh,
Mm.
one would be us stepping up as a community, you using your voice and saying, "Hey, there are elections going on right now. I'm getting everybody.
Yeah.
I'm getting a football team. I'm getting everybody. We getting people out to vote. I'm going to get my granny. We going out
Wow.
to vote."
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the confines of education, at a high school, we're judged by 40, 40, 20. 40 CCMR, 40, 40. I mean, 40 for EOC exam and 20 for graduation rate. I
Okay.
love the CCMR component, meaning going to the military, dual credit. Our kids, black, brown, and white, all of them going into these programs. I wish that we would not put a cap on kids because they're 19 and they didn't graduate it as being unsuccessful. I wish that kids could actually go to school till about 10th grade, and if school is not their thing, go
Mm-hmm.
to a specialty, and we still uh, get rewarded for that.
Yeah.
There are kids that are going to be plumbers, carpenters, roofers. I have a student at Poteet now named Kane Robinson. Um, Kane has a roofing business now. I
Wow.
have a student from West, Jennifer. She has her real estate license now.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer and Kane, I'm pretty sure, make more than I do. But because they didn't go the typical route, the world may not look at them in the same manner, but they are just as successful as Malik Jefferson to me,
Mm-hmm.
or any other student that I may have had.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish the lens of accountability took into account more than just um, graduation, and it gave students that are not in love with education, make them learn the basics. I wish it included more of teaching about stocks, more of credit at a younger age. I wish foreign language was at a younger age. But we can get all those things if we go out and vote.
Yeah. I,
And
now go ahead. Go ahead.
that's I think is the most important, that we're getting out to vote these local school board elections and state elections.
I think that was so important what you said. And because I think if you don't do that, what you just said, which is getting out voting and getting knowledgeable on those things, you can't complain about what's going to come later or later.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's so important. I think the second thing you said was so important, but I almost want you to repeat it again because you can't complain if you
Hmm.
didn't do your homework and you didn't vote.
Yeah. Yeah. And just complaining is one thing, but your power. Remember, I talked about creating freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
I can go, I guarantee I can go ask, I say half of the constituents that I serve,
Mm-hmm.
who's your local school board members? Name the seven of them. And I would almost bet my money that they couldn't name the seven of them. And if they're so, whether you have a student in the school or not, it's your property value.
Mm-hmm.
As your schools go, your community go.
Mm-hmm.
You can guarantee that when people that are affluent and businesses come, they're checking to see how are your schools, how's your safety. If you have great schools, your safety will be there. So what I'm saying is that that's so important, the area of opportunity, we need to get out and make sure that we control it. So and a lot of times, even as teachers,
Mm-hmm.
we vote, we vote for parties, Democrat, Republican, and I don't get into those things. But I can tell you this: if I was a Republican or if I'm a Democrat, I don't care how you feel. You have to look at what's important to you. So
Mm-hmm.
what's important to me as being an educator is your stance on public education. What do you want? I don't care if you're in my party. If your stance on public education is opposite from how I feel,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use my vote to let you know that.
Yeah.
We are the biggest industry, one of the biggest industries in the state of Texas. We should control who's in office.
True.
That's just period.
Yep.
We have enough educators to be able to dictate whether it's me, Greg Abbott, you, whomever is in the
Mm-hmm.
governorship, whoever is the local school board. We have the power to do it. And I don't think we're using our power.
Yeah. That's good. That's really, really good. Um, what's some word of wisdom would you give to a younger coach or educator getting into the field in this day and age?
Don't be in a rush. Like, learn.
Okay.
I mean, there I was ready to be, I think, a principal probably 3 or 4 years before I actually became one. When the opportunity didn't present itself, I just viewed every principal that I ever saw. I just
Mhm.
studied them. So,
Mm.
new coach, I'll tell you this. I'm gonna give this example. The other day, we had a staff development, February 21st.
Mhm.
I hired a new assistant principal. Her name's Melissa McGee. You put her in a biology classroom, and I'm telling you, if there are 1,000 people, she's gonna outdo 1,000. She's that talented. But she's
Wow.
been away from being an assistant principal for a while. So it was that Monday morning, and for principals, staff development, yeah, that you got to put the ice out, you got to put the water out. It's the small things.
Mhm.
I didn't tell Melissa McGee not one thing to do, but she showed up at 7:15.
Wow.
I'm gonna tell you, the teachers don't get there until 8 o'clock. It was she and
Mm.
it was she and I in there in the dark trying to figure out where the lights at, who's gonna put ice, and I knew all the things to do. She just
Mhm.
had gotten there. She didn't know many of the things, but she was there prepared to learn. Just
Mm.
being in the arena, soak it up is what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, my dad at times he would work in the yard and I'd be inside and he'd be like, son, come on. I'm like, Daddy, I can't help it. It don't
Mhm.
matter if I'm working, everybody in this house gonna work. But at
Mhm.
least you don't act like you work. But
Yeah.
just be around. Sometimes just being around, you're gonna get something. So if she keeps that effort or a coach keeps that effort, and what I mean by that is, on that Sunday, when you
Mhm.
see Coach Valdez up there watching film
Mhm.
and he didn't ask you to come, go up there, man. If you really want it. Now
Mhm.
everybody don't want it. If you don't want it, don't do that.
Mhm.
But we have this whole new mantra about this work-life balance, and it's important. But don't forget the grind.
Yeah.
The grind is important too.
Yeah.
Like Bill Gates is not working the same as he worked when he first started.
Mhm.
One of my favorite rappers, he got this tune. He said, "I treat my first like my last, and my last like my first." That's what
Mhm.
Big said.
Yeah.
What I mean is, even if you 20 years in a game, still put that work in.
Yep.
So if you new coach, man, go up there on Sunday. Say, Coach, do I need to run papers off? Coach, do I need to go get you some food?
Mhm.
Coach, can I go over to the next town and talk to that coach just to see what they're doing?
Yeah.
Make yourself an asset. Make
That's good.
yourself wait on it. If
Mhm.
everybody got to tell you what to do, they don't need you.
Yeah.
My old boss used to tell me, and her name's Karen Cummings. She said, Abram, if I got to do your job, I don't need you.
Wow.
So Miss McGee showed a great example. I
Mhm.
didn't tell her, hey, I sent a message saying, hey, be there at 7:30. She was like, nah, I'm there. I don't
Mhm.
know what can come up.
Mhm.
you know. So with those coaches, those educators, I remember at times when I was a AP at Poteet, there's something called a 226, mean you work the summer. You get $10,000 more. It's a benefit. That's the
Okay.
next year. Well, I wasn't. At summertime, I would be with my son. Sometimes I just go up there and find out what Dr. Cummings doing, what you need. If I
Yeah.
want to be a principal, I need to learn what's going on in the summertime.
True.
And she never asked me, but I had that dog in me. I had that hunger in me. So, use that hunger. Don't just talk about it saying, oh, I won't be a head coach. No, go up there on Sunday. Stay up that late. Go early.
Mhm.
And if that offends you, then you ain't ready to be a head coach.
No, that's real. That's real. Principal, what's the process when a team or school gets new facilities? Let's say a new stadium or a new track field or something. What's that process like? From an outsider looking in that doesn't know.
Well, it's different, depending if you're dealing with a mid-sized district like Mesquite or you're dealing with a small district.
Okay.
Small districts is probably more a superintendent and a principal. Facilities wise, it goes back to the voting. Your people can vote and they may on a bond to decide, do we want to increase to get great facilities so we can be more impactful. Then you have to have a visionary like Dr. D. Man, he created so many buildings, so many new schools, so many facilities to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that Mesquite is still a marquee place for people to come so that we can compete. We have a new
Mm-hmm.
indoor swimming facility. But from the principal's chair, I have a budget that I look at with my secretary, and it goes back to what can I do to help DeMarcus or Coach Harris or Coach Baker or Mr. Flazowski, the band teacher?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what can I do for my chair to help them be more successful? So that may be where it comes to Coach Harris is saying, hey, on Saturdays, so we can watch film, can we contract somebody come in to work our guys out and expert? So I
Mm-hmm.
look at the budget and see how can I help? Or Coach Baker may see our facilities look like this in the gym. This has been going on. Our facilities, our funds are exhausted. Can you look at your budget to see if there's anything that we can do? And most, some people may think, why are we using our budget in that manner? Once again, it's impacting kids. And I'll tell you, I do the same thing for the eligible one or the English teacher. We evaluate how can we put students in a position to be successful. And a lot of that comes with the budget. So I'm very big on assessing that budget, being able to be a good steward of that budget because the money is not mine, it's yours and those constituents in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to make sure that I'm using that budget to put those kids in a position to be successful.
Well, that's good right there. That's what I mean. You pretty much broke it down. Coming up on an Hour Guys Hood Scout podcast. I want to end with this one, Principal. I want you to define what it means to have a faculty. Define that. What does that mean for you?
I'll tell you, man, simply is serving.
Okay.
I told you I study a bunch of people, whomever, whether it's you know, the crackhead person in jail or whether it's, you know, George Bush, President Obama, I don't care party lines, but whether it's Muhammad, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's TD Jakes, whether it's Farrakhan, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. But one of the greatest leaders to me is Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And, you know, with him saying, or him having all power in his hands, he
Mm-hmm.
used his hands to clean feet. He
Oh.
used his hands to serve. He used his hands to mellow people and say, turn the other cheek. So, what that means to me is, remember I told you I went in the cafeteria and I pick up trays from kids to say,
Mm-hmm.
what's your name?
Mm-hmm.
I want them kids to remember that I'm serving them, and after I pick up that tray, you know what I'm doing when I'm in the cafeteria? And it's just not to promote myself, but I'm grabbing the Clorox towel and I'm wiping the tables with the custodians.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm asking Coach Harris to set up a Friday that we clean the building for custodians to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Teacher is out getting that classroom cover. When that teacher has lost, or you at the funeral, or are you serving?
Mm-hmm.
So, in order to put people in positions to be successful, they must know that you will serve them. There's that heavy as the head that wears the crown,
Mm-hmm.
not because I'm supposed to be the highest paid or because I'm the principal. It's because I think I think all great leaders, as I spoke of Jesus, that their greatest skill set is their empathy. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Are you feeling what your people feel? When they're down, are you feeling it that much to decide that I need to do something to ensure to help them out? And I talk about Jesus. Oh, this is the most remarkable thing that I see when I study him. I'm not just, you can be a believer or not.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at this book called the Bible, one of his greatest things is he left heaven as a being perfect, to come down to earth, to feel what we feel.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes back to heaven to sit up high. When I tell him, or when I sin, or when I'm weak, he can say, "Man, I've been on the earth. I know what that feels like."
Mm.
So he's not just looking at me from a heavenly view.
Yeah.
He's looking at me from a view of Abram. I know and I feel, I understand what you have going through. No, I don't make mistakes,
Yeah.
but I empathize. I have felt it. So
Mm.
my job, I'm definitely not Jesus, but my job is to be out to feel what my people feel, whether that's my students, whether that's my community members, whether that's my teachers. I need to be out and be amongst them so I can have a lens, understand their lens. I will never know it, but at least understand it. So I would treat them with dignity with my actions because I feel what they're feeling.
I said we're going to end on this one. I got one more though. As you was talking, I kind of thought about something. What do you think is the future of education?
Scared for it, man. I'm very scared. We have such a teacher shortage. From there, we're going to have administrator shortage.
Mm.
And how the world can help is before you jump on that teacher as a parent and say that teacher is not doing this, man, we have such a shortage. If we don't start building our educators up, and I'm not talking about, and you got to see now, even superintendents are leaving.
Yeah,
We're,
and I've seen that lately. Yeah.
we're going to have a shortage of superintendents. If
Wow.
we as a community don't start investing and speaking with our tone, the greatness of teachers, there
Hmm.
won't be any teachers
Mm.
because, and if we don't have teachers, then there's going to be despair. I mean, we will have despair in our communities. We will have despair when it comes to crime. Our jails will get more full than what there are. We will have great despair.
Mm.
So I am very scared for the future of education if we don't start revering teachers and educators in the manner that we revere other occupations. And I mean that across the board. And teachers are going to make mistakes. I'm not saying when teachers are good, revere them. I'm saying when they mess up, when they fall short, still revere them. Understand that they may make mistakes,
Hmm.
but their intent, their effort, look at it. So I am very, man, right now we are just trying to protect teachers from the world, you
Wow.
know. I truly are. You just don't know the times that we get emails, do this to this teacher, do that. Man, you keep beating on. And what's happening is we're getting kids out of college that don't know how to teach English, don't know how to teach math. They don't
Wow.
know these things, and we're putting them in front of our students. It's because your talented tent, as W.E.B. Du Bois said, they're not coming into it anymore because they can go to an easier path and make much more money.
Mm.
So why should a math teacher go into education and go into engineering and make 150 and
Hmm.
they're not under the microscope of that parent or uh, the Facebook,
Hmm.
the Instagram, the Twitter? Teachers don't do what they used to do. Man, that's crap.
Hmm.
Teachers are working their tails off, man.
Hmm.
They need some love right now. And I mark my words, it's hard for us to find custodians now. It's hard for us to find, and this is across the world. It's,
Let me stop real quick. Does pay have anything to do with that?
no, I
Okay.
think it's a facet of it,
Okay.
but teachers aren't going in to say, "Hey, I'm making 180,000." I think it's respect and training and
Mm.
the pressure. I'll tell you this: eligible one teacher, okay, she sits down if she's not successful.
Hmm.
If that school is not successful because of EOC, they can get a grade of a D.
Mm.
What they're going to do is get me to come in their class. My boss is going to go in their class. A
Hmm.
specialist is going to go in their class. Everybody is in their class. And that teacher is going to say, man, I got enough.
Hmm.
Like, I'm under all this pressure to get this done. If I'm not successful, I'm called out by the state. I'm called out by my boss. I'm called
Hmm.
out by everybody. Why take this? It's the pressure that's breaking them. Right
Mm,
now, we have something called ESSER where we're providing up to $10,000 to a teacher to help grow students because of the pandemic. You know, most schools, it was hard for them to fill that position of $10,000 in tutoring because
mm,
people are exhausted. They're
wow.
mentally taxed, and it comes from, once again, goes back to the voting. We have at times people that who are not educators
Hmm.
making laws for educators and not understanding what teachers are going through.
Hmm.
So you want me to jump on a teacher because they didn't make a certain grade, their kids didn't make a certain grade. If I get rid of that teacher, who's there?
Yeah.
So educators, of course, they should be paid more, but
Hmm.
I don't think money fix it. I
Hmm.
think our tongue, our vote, the way we treat those teachers
Hmm.
will be the defining factor to change education so we can have a more successful, a more equipped workforce.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Well, principal, we that's a pretty much a wrap, man. That's an hour on the Hood Scout podcast. Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot for coming on. And I think what you just said, it was real. I mean, it because for many different areas, we're talking about education. Yeah, yeah. And let me ask you this: I keep saying I'm wrapping up, but it may,
Man,
does the charter schools play in this at all, or like is that a I don't want to say competition, but for lack of a better word, is that a kind of a competition against public schools, or is that not really a thing?
I'll tell you this. You heard the adage of a lion swatting at a fly.
Mm-hmm.
Charter schools, they have their place. Uh, they have their place. This is the issue I see, me personally, with a charter school. I take whoever comes through that door. If they're in that 75134 or 75149 zip code,
Mm-hmm.
I take them. I have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're special needs, whether they're rich, poor, black, white, or whatever, whether their IQ is 60 or their IQ is 130. Well, what happens with a charter school is something like white flight that we
Okay.
had a lot in the civil rights era, and we still got white flight now.
Mm-hmm.
They, I hate, well, that's the term. What a charter school can do is, hey, bring me your kid.
Mm-hmm.
If the kid is like my kid that reads 1,300 words above average, you're gonna say, "Oh, bring him here. Yeah, I love him. Oh, I think he's so great. He's such
Mm-hmm.
a good guy." And look what we provided to Isaac. This STEM such and such.
Mm-hmm.
But if I bring in the kid that is below the learning curve, they decide when they want to kick that kid out.
Mm.
And where does that kid go to? They got to come back home. And now we have to rehabilitate what a charter school just gave us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the consequences I see the charter school is the mandates aren't aligned. If the state, and there are a lot of people that are anti-education now that are sitting in those offices,
Mm-hmm.
they're taking funds that they could be giving us, but they're not governing them in the same manner. If I kicked out a kid can get in a fight at Mesquite High School
Mm-hmm.
and affect other kids. If I kick that kid out the school
Mm-hmm.
and that parent calls, I'm gonna see on my phone. I ain't gonna tell you the number. It's gonna say Dr. V. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
pick up the phone. He's gonna say, Abram, I got this call from this parent. I told him you kicked that kid out. Dr. V, they got in a
Mm-hmm.
fight. Oh, okay. Did you go through the steps to help rehabilitate that kid?
Mm-hmm.
No, I just kicked him out. Okay, well, come see me at my office. I don't have that choice.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is that that's the unfairness of it, where charter schools are governed. I mean, are coming into play. They're not governed the same, and since they're not governed the same, they can hurt us.
Mm.
And I'll
Wow.
tell you many times, man, I get a kid, and when they have a lot of problems, whether it's fighting, the kid think I'm about to fuss at him, I pull that cue folder, and I go in there, man, this kid then hop 5, 6 schools.
Mm.
Well, that's one of the factors of being at risk, how many schools you're going to.
Yeah.
Those learning gaps and those social emotional gaps are created. So that's the once again there I'm sure are some great charter schools. Uh, However, I don't want to paint a brush to say all the charter schools are bad.
Mm-hmm.
That concerns with them.
Wow, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, Prince. So get you some rest, man. Get ready for school tomorrow, man. And I hope y'all continue to build. I
Mhm.
hope y'all continue to build. I think that's the because I don't want to say a new culture in Mesquite where you're at, but in some ways it is.
I
A
understand.
demographics change, so it's like I just hope you guys continue to build, and I think you guys got a potential to build something beautiful,
Well,
beautiful.
man, just keep praying for us. Keep promoting public
Hmm.
education, promoting these coaches, giving these guys platforms. I would love, man. I'll tell you, like you had a principal on here, man. Pull those teachers on here. Pull them
Mm,
podcasts and see how they align. Shine a positive light on them so constituents can see how valuable educators are. And man, it's so important. Like when I say every varsity girl from Mesquite High School's basketball team made the all academic team, that's
mm,
that's not just Coach Baker.
yeah.
Coach Baker is I mean, she is the leader. She's
Hmm.
very vital,
Hmm.
but that's Kathy Quigley, that's Linda Howitt, that's Lance Lazowski, that's Derek Johnson.
Hmm.
There are teachers, that's Amy Nichols, Rachel Bishop. There are teachers in that building that are fighting to make sure that that accomplishment occurs, and
Wow.
they go without notoriety.
Hmm.
So I'm telling you, man, you get the opportunity, you pull those teachers in there and see how they're supporting sports and extracurriculars.
Yeah, and even when I've been to the school, they just seem like nice people. And I mean,
Oh,
you think a school would have that. That may not be everywhere where it feels like the people like their job.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
We always talk about seeing people past their profession. I am not only a principal. Matter of fact, that's probably my third job. I am a son. I
Yep.
am a father. I am a man, a black man. I am many things
Hmm.
before I am a principal.
Yep.
So do not just shoot out at me thinking that that I am bulletproof, that you can say anything to me because I am a principal.
Hmm.
I am a man. I am many things first. So I make sure that with my tone that I am treating people past their profession.
Hmm.
And we talk about that all the time at Mesquite High School,
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's a wrap. Hour 15 minutes, just about. Like I said, thank you for coming on, and much continued success. Like I said, as a servant, as a husband, as a brother, as a leader. I mean, because really, you're in a leadership position, but you're
Oh,
in a but look at this. You're in a leadership position at the most vital time.
wow.
At the most
Yeah,
vital time.
yeah. This is. I always tell people I don't know how it feels to be a teacher at this time. I don't. I can empathize, but nobody understands how it is to be the principal of Mesquite High School this year.
Yeah.
Nobody before me,
Yeah.
nobody after me. This is a
Yeah.
very different time. And
Yeah.
so thank you for taking that in consideration. Everybody can pass judgment,
Mm-hmm.
but they have no clue. No
Mm-hmm.
clue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a wrap, brother. Take care, man, and get your good night rest.